science behind a moving object? How do you think an object moves? Try to think about it. For example, throwing ball in the air and a running car. These things can be explained using Newton's 3 laws of motion. Welcome to Newton's 3 laws of motion.
Newton's first law is all about inertia. It is often stated that an object at rest, it will remain at rest. And an object in motion, it will remain in motion unless it acts upon by force.
A bowling ball is an example of an object in motion. Now, when the ball drops in the ground, the surface causes the motion to stop. Remember that the more masses an object has means more inertia an object has.
Newton's second law provides the explanation for the object upon which forces do not balance. The law states that unbalanced forces causes the object to accelerate with an acceleration that is directly proportional to the net force and inversely proportional to this.
For instance, try to push a person on a skateboard with a small amount of force and he begins to move slowly. Now, try using a big push. As you can see, he gains much faster than before.
Newton's third law of motion, it stated that every action is an equal and opposite reactions. What do you think will happen when the two objects interact with each other? When the two objects interact with each other, there's a presence of force in each other.
Newton's third law, or the law of action and reaction, states that with every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. It means that the mutual actions of two bodies are always the same and directed in the opposite direction. For instance, hammer a nail. The hammer's metal head transmits the force of our arm to the nail, driving it more and more into the wood. But the latter also reacts by pushing the hammer in the opposite direction.
Now, what do you think is the connection of Newton's 3 laws of motion to the issue of air pollution? How do you think does it affect our environment? And what can we do using the concept of 3 laws of motion in order to aid the said issue? Every day, there are thousands of running vehicles. Now, just imagine that a huge amount of smoke came from these vehicles and tends to pollute the air. Now, as a human being, we often forget that we are the one who is responsible and that our action plays a huge part in preventing the issue of the air pollution. But sometimes, we often forget about it. And most of the time, we are the one whom to be blamed of putting our air into polluted ones. We often burn biodegradable materials like plastics, and this action affects our environment, specifically the air. The general concept of Newton's 3 laws of motion is all about movement, exerting force, and receiving a reaction from one's action. This concept of movements shows us that in every action, there is a corresponding consequences. That's why we should be responsible, considering the environment before taking or doing an action should be practiced.
Remember, there's no single object in the world could start moving on its own unless some external effort is put on. Keep moving.